There's a ghost in my house. What should I do? Hey, it's Tom Stewart here. Do you currently have a ghost in your home? Is your house haunted? Well, while you're waiting for a new episode to drop here on the podcast, I thought I'd do a quick, informational, hopefully helpful bonus episode. I get a lot of emails from people who are currently experiencing paranormal activity in their homes. I'm flattered that in some cases anyway, you have chosen me to share your stories with. And I hope it's because you know that I'll be understanding and will most likely relate to what you're going through. And that maybe I'll be able to give you some advice or shed some light on your situation. So if you have trusted me with your paranormal situation via email or private message, thank you. And if anyone ever wants to email me to tell me about their paranormal experiences, whether you're looking for help or you just want to get it off your chest, feel free to send me a message. My email is myparanormalstorypodcast@gmail.com, and I always reply back. So one of the most common emails I get is, "There's a ghost in my house. What do I do?" And there's a lot of different ways to react to this. Everyone's situation is going to be different. And if you are currently dealing with something of a paranormal nature inside your home, perhaps this will help you. First off, I think it's best to determine whether or not what you're experiencing really is paranormal. Obviously, without being there, I can't make that determination for you. I might be able to give you an opinion once I've heard about some of the things you're seeing, hearing, or feeling. But generally speaking, a lot of the times, the things we think are paranormal are actually quite normal. It's easy to trick ourselves into thinking something is a ghost. And I've seen so many examples of this as a paranormal investigator. Strange noises in your house could be anything from faulty pipes to animals in the walls, or even your house just naturally settling. Strange happenings with electronics can be due to faulty wiring, defective batteries or remote controls, even static electricity. Even the things you might be seeing could be explained away by strange lighting, drafts from a window, or cars driving by. And there are also biological causes for misinterpreting paranormal activity too, like sleep paralysis, stress, strange reactions to drugs or medicines, or a number of different sicknesses and ailments. So the first thing I would suggest doing is to make sure that what you are experiencing is paranormal and not just something natural. Now let's assume we've disproven, or debunked, as many people like to say, all of the natural causes for what you're experiencing. Let's just say that you do have a ghost in your house. The next question is, what kind of spiritual activity are we talking about? Is this a residual haunting that just basically does the same thing all the time? You know, like maybe you've seen a woman in a dress walking down the stairs a few times, or occasionally you hear footsteps on the floor above you. Or maybe sometimes you smell cigar smoke in a certain room of the house where no one ever smokes. If the spirit seems to be repeating their actions and showing no signs of free will, this might just be a residual haunting. Sort of an imprint in time of a person from the past who maybe once lived in the house, just playing over and over again, like a record that skips. Residual hauntings are actually quite common, especially in older homes, and they can be more active when atmospheric conditions are right, or during certain times of the day, week, month, or year. Other than catching it out of the corner of your eye now and then, a residual haunting won't bother anyone and can easily be lived with. It may even go away after a while, or maybe you'll just become so used to it that you won't even notice it anymore. But let's say You do have an active spirit in your home, a ghost that is aware of you and itself. It demonstrates free will by making choices and taking actions for you to observe. This could be many things, like moving or hiding small objects, opening and closing doors, manifesting as an apparition or a sound or even a smell. In some cases, the spirit may even interact with you by touching you. The spirit may be attached to the house you're living in or attached to an object inside the home. And in most cases, these spirits are harmless and just looking for attention. They might be curious as to who you are and why you're in their home. Or maybe they're trying to be friendly and welcoming. When it comes to hauntings, I believe many people misinterpret the intentions of spirits. I mean, thanks to horror movies, a lot of people think ghosts are out to get us. They want to hurt us or terrorize us. But that's hardly ever the case. I mean, sometimes spirits will get stirred up, when there are major changes in the home. For instance, if you just had a new baby or you added a new pet to the household, sometimes that can stir up spiritual activity. Other things like renovations and remodeling in the home can also make spirits become active again. Mostly, I think they're just curious to see what's going on, what these changes are all about. And sometimes the activities of you or your family can cause hauntings too, especially if you dabble with things like Ouija boards or witchcraft or tarot cards, stuff like that. Now the question is, are you comfortable with a ghost being in your home? Is the spirit disturbing you or becoming a nuisance? Are there children or pets becoming scared because of the activity? Do you want it to go away? If you're comfortable with the spirit being there, then just carry on with your normal daily activities. I would suggest not trying to make contact with it or encourage it to become more active, because that can lead to uncomfortable situations. But if you have decided you want the spiritual activity to stop and for the ghost to go away, the best advice I can give you is to ask it to stop. Be in charge of your space. Tell the spirit to stop doing whatever it is it's doing. If it's making noises at night and waking you up, tell it to stop. If it's scaring you, your child or your pet, tell it to stop doing that. Don't be combative or try provoking it or anything. Just politely but assertively tell it to stop. Something like, "Please stop making noise at night. You're disturbing my sleep." This will work almost every time. I mean, sometimes you have to communicate your message a few times before it gets through. You might even want to try preemptively asking it to stop. So, if the ghost usually makes noise at night while you're sleeping, just tell it, "I'm going to sleep now. Please be quiet tonight. Thank you." I mean, it really is that simple. If asking nicely doesn't seem to be working, or it's getting worse, there are other methods you can try. But I have to stress that you shouldn't do these things yourself. You should leave it up to people who have experience with such matters. There are some people who believe smudging a house with sage can calm spirits or even make them go away. But I have found that people who don't do this the right way can actually make the paranormal activity worse. So it's best to find someone like a medium, a person of religion, a shaman, or even a paranormal investigator to do this for you. Also, a psychic medium can be helpful in other ways too. If they spend some time in your home, they might be able to make contact with the spirit, or at least get a feeling for why the spirit is there. And then that can lead to suggestions on how to make the haunting go away. It could be something as simple as moving a specific item out of the house or to a different room in the house. Or maybe it's something darker, like removing those bones that are buried under the dirt floor in your basement. You could also look for guidance from your family priest or shaman or clergyman or whomever represents your beliefs if you have them. Many of these faith workers will be willing to come to your house and bless it or cleanse it for free. And then there are paranormal investigators, who can also be helpful too. Most paranormal teams are experienced with doing historical research on properties, which can help determine who the spirit is and why they're still lingering in the house. But in all of these cases, please make sure you get someone who is experienced and reputable to help you. There are a lot of mediums and paranormal investigators out there who don't really know what they're doing. So look for recommendations, research their history, try and find out whether they are just out for the thrill or if they are sincerely trying to help people. Now, the last possibility, if you have a ghost in your house that isn't so nice and it's causing problems in your home, I'm not going to go out on a limb and use the word demonic because I just don't believe in that stuff. But I do believe on rare occasions there are spirits and entities that do want to scare you and might even want to hurt you. I've personally been attacked by an angry spirit before. It didn't hurt me, but it seemed like it wanted to. These cases are very rare. What you should do, if this is your situation, consult with people who are experienced with these matters. Don't try to fix it yourself. Mediums, priests, paranormal investigators are all your best bet. Allow them to try and remedy the situation for you. In most cases, they will be able to peacefully console or remove the spirit and make your house more comfortable for your family. But if it's still bad, still causing you stress, even after you bring those people in, then maybe you'll have to consider whether this is really the home for you. I mean, moving should be the last resort, but in the end, you should always do what you think is best for you and your family. So I hope some of this was helpful and informative. If you do live in a house you believe is haunted, you're not the only one. It is much more common than people believe. I have lived in a haunted house. I have visited and investigated dozens and dozens of haunted houses, and I'm pretty sure the house I live in right now has a ghost or two in it. I just want you to know that there are people out there who are willing to help you free of charge. Whether you need help or you just want someone to talk to, there are people out there. You're not alone. And once again, you're welcome to email me with questions, comments, or if you just want to tell someone your story, you can write to me at myparanormalstorypodcast@gmail.com. I always reply back. A new episode for the podcast is coming soon. Thanks as always for listening. I'm Tom Stewart, and this is My Paranormal Story.